salute to you all. The brave never fall. For phase 2, I thought I would give a little bit of a preliminary on the outskirts overview of what phase 2 would be about by recapping real quickly what happened in phase 1. Phase 1 was not so much a goal for me personally, which it was, to get 100 podcasts done within a 6-month time period from October 8th to April 8th. And even though I didn't get to where I wanted to get with it, meaning I wanted a little room between March and April to actually do some things that would flow into phase 2 a little more smoothly. And because of everything that happens in our normal lives and things that happen in your peripherals and outside of your peripherals, meaning things that are going to happen and things that are going to happen unexpectedly, as we've talked about a million times, the boulder that hits you in the back of the head, which was the coronavirus, how do you ever foresee something like that? And I think that's something that happens in life where it's a good example of what can happen when you're in your zone, you got everything going for you, then something you can never predict or control comes in and knocks you off course, vision-wise. If you're grounded steadily and heavily in your own path and your own purpose, nothing really can knock you off of that path. You're just adjusting to it. So you may get knocked down on the path. You may get knocked over on the path. You may get knocked off the path for a moment, but you can still see it. You never get too knocked away from the path where you lose sight of the path itself, therefore losing sight of the vision. What you have to be aware of when you're on your path and on your journey is the fact that these things are going to happen. And that's just one big element of it. That's not even counting all the smaller elements that built up to that. And building up is what the Brave Never Fall is all about. It's what it was initially intended for, was to start at a level, start at a place, and each place is different for each person. And building upon what you're building for yourself, not for other people to judge that for you and say you need to have these particular stones placed in these particular spots that build this particular structure. You are building your own structure with the vision you see fit for yourself. And it doesn't matter what other people do when they see your blueprint and say, hey, look, it's structurally unbalanced over here on the left wing, and on the right wing we see strengths in there. Maybe you shouldn't have it so fortified. Maybe it's too strong over there and it's weak over here, and maybe it's a bad location. You can transition all that into real life whenever you tell somebody your plan or your goals. Doesn't mean you shy away from telling people that. I prefer to lead by action. I do. I don't just say. So going into phase 2, a lot of people hide their agenda. They want to surprise people with what's going to happen next. I don't like to do that. June 8th, phase 2 will begin. We will be doing much more live work where I'll be in front of the camera more. And phase 2 is much more of a hands-on approach with me trying to connect with people. We get into the connecting phase of it. Where phase 1 was about freedom, phase 2 is about connection. It's about opening up and embracing who you are so you can get out in the world and embrace who you are fully, but also embrace what other people are going to be like when they see this version of you and what you're doing on your path, and embracing that fully. Regardless if it's good, if it's bad, or it's ugly, you're going to bring all that in and you're going to use it. You're going to learn from it, you're going to laugh from it, and you're going to level up from it. And that's what phase 2 is all about. It's about leveling up. It's about taking all the best aspects of you. When we reach that volcano, anybody can do something alone. You are still connected with the world. You still have to know how to interact with all different types of situations, people, businesses. How are you going to grow as a person if the self-love you have for yourself is never explored by other people? That doesn't mean you have to, because there are plenty of people out there who are in isolation and are full of self-love, super successful, super powerful, super rich. Any super you want to put in front of any word, these people are. And they don't have anyone around them except for a select few. What I mean by people, that could be one other person or that could be 1 million people. That's your life, and for you to fit into that model as you see fit. One of the things I'm learning from my coach right now, one of the things he has me focus on is me trusting myself. And that's what I wanted to put into this particular podcast, because I tried to keep my word with things. A lot of people will finish up a project and say, I have all this time off, I can just do whatever I want in between. I didn't want to finish the podcast phase and then have this intermittent period where there's nothing going on and there's silence. Even if in real time, I haven't really put in the place a marketing plan to market everything, because part of marketing the Brave Never Fall and having it grow is part of phase 2 and phase 3, really heavily in phase 3. But I knew phase 1 and phase 2 had to work for me on a personal level to see if I even wanted to do this stuff. And I do. I made it through 100 podcasts, and I didn't do it alone. I had help. Thank you, Butterfly. Thank you, Coach Mike. Thank you to a lot of people who have influenced me that I can't thank personally in my own life. David Goggins been one of them. Coach Corey Wayne is another person. Jocko Willichik. There's so many people I'm already in my mind that I'm already leaving out that have influenced me to do these things. Joe Rogan is another one. His podcast has taught me a lot. Not so much with Joe in particular, even though he does have good insight in my opinion, but his guests, that podcast has been invaluable to me. There's been a lot of things that I've done reading wise and putting myself in a position to get a coach, because that's what it's all about, is that even though I am a coach, you can never stop being coached. And that's something I had to come to terms with. But trusting myself has been a big issue my entire life. And I think the theme of phase 2, the learn, laugh, and leveling up, is me being me. And I found that me being me is no different than anyone else. We all have to learn in life in order to grow. We all have to laugh in life in order to be happy. And we all need to level up so we can be successful in life. No matter what that success is for each person. A laugh for someone may be just a smile for someone else. That's perfectly fine. Learning may be reading a book a month to someone going to Harvard. It doesn't matter how you obtain the education and the knowledge in learning. It doesn't matter how you obtain the joy and happiness out of smiling or laughing, or how you level up. If you get a small promotion or you start your own business, these are things we all experience in life. And these are things we go through together. Even though we're free, we are also connected. The Brave Never Fall is all about freedom and connection. And we did freedom in the first part, the first phase where we went over the mountain. The volcano now is more about you finding out who you are and how you fit in this world. What things you can do better for yourself and what you have to share with other people. Because if you're in this part of life where you feel like you want to grow as a person, you also have things you could share that will help other people. You have things about you that are valuable, that will be valuable to other people. And I want you to see that, because that's something I'm trying to see for myself. And the journey of the Brave Never Fall is not for me to do this alone. That first phase, I learned just as much about myself as you did. If you got through those first 100, we did it together. I learned things about doing that podcast I never would learn by myself just by getting through them. For one thing, I learned I can do anything. If I can get through 100 podcasts completely by myself with absolutely no help at all from the technical side of it, and having to speak all by myself, I had no guests, I had no one to do my logos, the music, all of it was done by myself. It made me realize I can pretty much do anything if I really want to do it. If I really want to do it. And I do want to do this, and I want to continue it, and I want to move on to phase 2 and start the second phase of it. Now is all about leveling up. It's really what it's all about. It's about taking another big step. Not a small step, not a small hurdle. We're taking a giant leap. And that growth that I feel that is coming within me, I know should resonate over to anybody who attaches on to the Brave Never Fall. And that's the whole point, is that whole phase, if you went through phase 1, you got to see a steady level of growth in that. And now you get to see another level. And anybody who initially watches any of those podcasts or listens to any of those podcasts are going to see the growth that I had, and maybe it'll resonate with that person. This dude started with one podcast, and now he's trying, no matter what, forget the word trying. He is doing everything he can to make sure that he is leveling up, and he's having fun with it. And he's also learning how to become a better person and how to grow. And that's what it's all about. It's about you wanting and accepting the fact that you have purpose in life. And if you have all the self-love in the world, you can easily get through that. But it takes a commitment to yourself and trust in yourself and belief in yourself that what you're doing is right. And that's all that matters. All the outside stuff out there will take care of itself. But in the moment, that's what matters. That's what matters. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall.